The cameras were installed on a morning that smelled like money and fear. Armin Haley stood in the center of his mansion's control room, watching 12 different screens light up one by one. Each screen showed a different angle of the same truth. His house, his rules. His daughter, hallways, corners, bedrooms, the playroom. Even the quiet space near the window where sunlight fell gently every afternoon. 22 cameras, the technician said proudly. Nothing escapes this system. Armin nodded, signing the final document without really reading it. He didn't need explanations. He built empires. He understood systems. Control was his native language. Security, he said flatly when asked why so many. No one asked what he was afraid of. On the largest screen, his 6-year-old daughter, Elena Hale, sat in her wheelchair near the window. Her legs were wrapped neatly in a soft blanket. Her back was straight. Her hands rested calmly in her lap. She didn't move. 8 months earlier, a collision at an intersection took her legs forever. The doctors spoke in careful voices, using words like permanent and adjustment and new normal. Armin heard only one thing: never walk again. Elena never cried when they told her. That terrified him more than anything. Children were supposed to scream, to panic, to demand comfort. Elena didn't. She nodded politely, asked if she could still read books, asked if her wheelchair could be purple. That calm made adults praise her. She's so strong, they said. She's so mature. What they didn't say was the truth. She had learned very quickly that pain didn't bring people closer. Silence did. Armin told himself the cameras were love. That watching was the same as being present. From his office. From private jets. From hotel rooms across oceans. Every time guilt crept in, he opened the app. There she was. Alive. Safe. Quiet. Good parenting, he told himself. What he didn't see, what he didn't want to see, were the moments between moments. The pauses. The waiting. The acceptance. On Tuesday afternoon, Elena dropped her stuffed rabbit. It slipped from her lap and landed just beyond the reach of her wheelchair. She looked at it. 5 seconds passed, 10, a full minute. The camera recorded everything. Her small fingers tightening. Her eyes blinking slowly. Her lips pressing together. She didn't call out. She didn't cry. She didn't even look toward the door. After 5 long minutes, she turned her wheelchair around and rolled away, leaving the rabbit on the floor like it didn't matter. Armin watched the footage later that night, sitting alone in a hotel suite in Dubai. His finger hovered over the screen. Something cold moved inside his chest. He rewound it. Watched again. A 6-year-old child had learned something devastating. No one comes. He closed the app and ordered another drink. The cameras blinked red in the dark, capturing everything and understanding nothing. Rosa Alvarez arrived 3 weeks later with her head down and her daughter holding her hand. "I'm sorry, sir," Rosa said softly. "My babysitter canceled. I can't afford to miss this job." Her uniform was borrowed. Her shoes were worn thin. She smelled faintly of soap and exhaustion. Beside her stood Maya, 10 years old, thin, quiet, wearing a faded red sweater that had been washed too many times. Her eyes never rose higher than the marble floor. Armin barely looked at them. "Fine," he said. "Just keep her out of the way." Rosa nodded quickly, relief and shame colliding in her chest. Maya removed her shoes carefully and lined them perfectly by the door. Then she sat against the wall near the hallway, knees pulled in, hands folded tightly. She did not touch anything. She did not speak. She knew how to disappear. Armin went back to his office and pulled up the camera feeds out of habit. For 27 minutes, Maya didn't move. Not once. That kind of stillness didn't come from obedience. It came from experience. Elena noticed Maya on the second day. She rolled her wheelchair into the hallway and stopped. A quiet standoff between 2 children who had learned different versions of survival. "Hi," Elena said politely. "Hi," Maya replied. There was no smile, no fear, just caution. "You can sit inside," Elena offered. Maya shook her head. I'm okay here. Elena nodded, accepting it without question. That alone surprised Maya. Most adults insisted. Forced kindness, forced help, forced closeness. Elena didn't. The next day, Maya sat just inside the doorway. On the third day, Elena dropped a crayon. It rolled toward Maya's foot. Maya picked it up, but she didn't hand it back. She placed it just close enough that Elena could reach it herself. Then she sat back down. Elena stared at her, confused. No one had done that before. Everyone either ignored her or overhelped her. This was different. This was respect. On Friday, Elena tried stacking blocks. Her hands trembled. The tower fell again and again. She didn't ask for help. Maya didn't offer. When the tower finally stood, 3 blocks tall, Maya nodded once. Not excitement. Not praise. Acknowledgement. Elena smiled. Not the polite smile she gave adults. A real one. Armin saw it on the cameras. Something twisted uncomfortably in his chest. That night, he watched more closely. Maya never hovered, never corrected. Never spoke unless spoken to. She just was. And somehow that presence filled the space Armin never could. He noticed something else too. When Rose's voice rose slightly in the kitchen, not anger, just stress, Maya stiffened instantly. Her shoulders tensed. Her eyes flicked toward exits. A child trained by instability, by consequences, by fear. Armin recognized that posture. He'd seen it in employees who had been fired too many times. In people who expected punishment before kindness. Maya wasn't quiet. She was prepared. The moment that shattered him came on a Tuesday afternoon. Elena dropped her toy again. She stared at it. The camera zoomed automatically. 5 seconds. 10. Maya walked into frame. She knelt beside Elena, not in front of her. Not towering, not controlling. And said 7 words that would burn into Armin's memory forever. She doesn't want to need you. Maya placed the toy close enough for Elena to reach it herself. Then she sat back. Elena picked it up. Her hands were shaking, but she did it. Armin dropped his phone. The truth hit him with surgical precision. The cameras weren't protecting Elena. They were protecting him. From guilt, from responsibility, from seeing how absent he truly was. He had built a fortress of technology to avoid building a relationship. And a 10-year-old maid's daughter had seen his child more clearly than he ever had. That night, Armin didn't sleep. For the first time in his life, power felt useless. And somewhere deep inside, a reckoning had begun. The first complaint arrived quietly, not in the form of shouting, not in anger, but in the polished, venom-coated tone of entitlement. She's getting too comfortable. Armin Halley heard those words during a late afternoon call with his head of household management. The man's voice was calm, practiced, careful not to offend, but the message was sharp. Who? Armin asked, already knowing the answer. The maid's daughter, sir. Armin leaned back in his chair, eyes flicking toward the wall of monitors. Elena was in the playroom. Maya sat beside her on the floor, legs crossed, hands resting calmly in her lap. Too comfortable. The phrase sat wrong in Armin's chest. She stays where she's told, the manager continued. But she's around your daughter a lot. Armin didn't respond immediately. Around his daughter, as if proximity itself were a threat. She's just a child, Armin said finally. There was a pause on the line. Yes, sir, of course. But you know how appearances can be. Appearances. The word Armin had built his life on. We'll monitor it, Armin said, ending the call. He told himself it was a small thing. He told himself he was still in control. He was wrong. The atmosphere in the house began to change in subtle, poisonous ways. Elena's therapist, Dr. Mills, arrived 3 times a week. She was efficient, clinical, always speaking over Elena instead of to her. Let's try standing exercises today, she said one afternoon, already positioning the equipment. Elena stiffened. "I'm tired," she said quietly. Dr. Mills smiled the way professionals smiled when they didn't intend to listen. "We have to push through discomfort, sweetheart." Maya watched from the corner. She didn't intervene. She didn't speak. But she noticed something Dr. Mills didn't. Elena's hands were trembling, not from weakness, but fear. When the session ended early because Elena shut down completely, Dr. Mills shook her head. "She's becoming resistant," she told Armin later. "Emotionally withdrawn. It's concerning." Armin glanced at the camera feed. Elena sat alone now, staring at the floor. Maya was gone. "She was fine before," Armin said defensively. Dr. Mills pursed her lips. Children pick up habits from their environment. There it was, the implication, the unspoken accusation. The help was becoming the problem. That evening, Rosa found Maya crying quietly in the laundry room. Not sobbing, silent tears. "What happened?" Rosa asked, panic rising. Maya wiped her face quickly. "Nothing." Rosa knelt in front of her. "Maya, they told me I can't sit with Elena anymore," she whispered. Rosa's chest tightened. "Who told you that?" "The lady with the clipboard. She said I'm distracting her. That I'm not family." Rosa closed her eyes. She had known this moment would come. In houses like this, kindness was tolerated until it crossed an invisible line. "You didn't do anything wrong," Rosa said, though her voice trembled. Maya nodded, but she didn't believe it. She never did. The next day, Elena noticed immediately. She rolled into the playroom and stopped. Maya wasn't there. She waited. 5 minutes. 10. Nothing. "Where's Maya?" she asked Rosa when she passed by. Rosa hesitated. "She's busy today, sweetheart." Elena nodded slowly. That night, Elena didn't eat dinner. She didn't cry. She didn't complain. She just stared at the wall. The cameras recorded everything. Armin watched from his office. The guilt came back stronger. The breaking point came during a fundraiser. Armin hosted dozens of donors, politicians, and executives in his home. The kind of night built on smiles and lies. Elena was wheeled into the room for exactly 5 minutes, just long enough to be seen. "Such a brave little girl," one woman said, bending down. "An inspiration," Elena smiled politely. When it was time for her to leave, she looked toward the hallway. Maya stood there, holding a tray of empty glasses. Their eyes met, just for a second. Maya didn't wave, didn't smile. She simply nodded. Elena nodded back. Something unspoken passed between them, understanding. That night, one of the guests complained. "I don't feel comfortable with staff children wandering the house," she said loudly enough for others to hear. "It's unprofessional." Rosa was standing nearby. She lowered her eyes. Armin heard it all. He said nothing. And in that silence, damage was done. Later that night, Elena dropped her blanket. It slid off her wheelchair and onto the floor. She stared at it. The camera zoomed. 5 seconds. 10. She didn't call out. She didn't cry. She whispered instead. Maya would have waited. Armin froze. That sentence shattered something permanent. The next morning, Armin made a decision. He called Rosa into his office. "You're doing good work," he said. Rosa nodded cautiously. "But there are boundaries," he continued. "Your daughter needs to stay out of private areas," Rosa swallowed. "She was just keeping Elena company. That's not her place." The words were sharp, final. Rosa nodded again. "Yes, sir." When she left, Armin felt powerful and deeply ashamed. Maya kept her distance. Elena grew quieter. The house returned to order, but something vital was missing. And the cameras recorded the cost. The house did not explode into chaos after Maya was pushed away. That would have been easier. Instead, it sank into something colder. Silence. The kind of silence that looks peaceful on camera, but rots at everything it touches. Armin Holly told himself the problem had been handled. Boundaries restored. Order re-established. The staff returned to moving quietly, efficiently, invisibly. The donors stopped complaining. The therapists nodded with approval. From the outside, the house looked perfect again. From the inside, Elena was disappearing. It started with small things. She stopped asking questions, stopped correcting adults when they spoke over her, stopped rolling herself into rooms where people gathered. She answered everything with polite efficiency, the way her father did in board meetings. Yes, thank you. I'm fine. It doesn't matter. The cameras captured her becoming smaller, not physically, emotionally. One afternoon, Elena sat in the playroom with a puzzle spread out on the floor. A single piece lay just beyond her reach. She stared at it for a long time, longer than before. Her lips parted as if she might call out. She didn't. She pushed the puzzle away instead. Armin watched the footage at midnight, alone in his office. Tie loosened, eyes burning. He remembered Maya sliding the crayon just close enough, not helping, not abandoning, respecting. He closed the app hard enough that his phone rattled on the desk. Maya was changing too. She spoke less at home, ate less. Her teachers noticed. "Your daughter is very observant," one said carefully to Rosa during a conference. "But she's guarded, like she's waiting for something bad to happen," Rosa nodded. That had always been true, but now it was worse. At night, Maya lay awake, replaying moments she didn't understand why she was punished for. She had not touched anything, had not asked for anything, had not crossed a rule anyone ever explained. She had only sat with a lonely girl. And somehow, that was too much. The incident happened on a Thursday. The kind of day no one plans for, but everything changes after. Elena was alone in her room. The therapist had canceled. Armin was out of the country. Rosa was cleaning the East Wing. The cameras showed Elena adjusting herself in her wheelchair, trying to reach a book on her shelf. She leaned too far. The chair tipped, not violently, just enough. She fell sideways onto the floor. The sound was soft, a dull thump. The cameras caught everything. Elena lay there, stunned. She didn't scream, didn't cry. She stared at the ceiling. Seconds passed. Then minutes. Her breathing became shallow. Her hands trembled. She tried to push herself up. She couldn't. 5 minutes. 10. No one came. The camera blinked red, watching, understanding nothing. Finally, Elena whispered, barely audible, "Maya." That was when Rosa heard it. Not the fall, the silence. The kind of silence that feels wrong in your bones. She rushed down the hallway and froze at the doorway. "Elena!" She ran to her, calling for help. Staff poured in. Doctors were called. Elena wasn't badly injured, but something inside her broke. When Armin landed and watched the footage, he didn't breathe for several minutes. He rewound it, watched again, and again. His daughter had fallen, and waited. Not because she believed someone would come, but because she believed no one would. The final blow came when he reached the part where she whispered Maya's name, not his, not for help, for the child he had pushed away. Armin felt something collapse inside his chest, not guilt. Something heavier, responsibility. The house changed overnight. Not outwardly, but in the way Armin moved through it. He stopped watching the cameras constantly. Instead, he started walking. Sitting, listening. He noticed how Elena flinched when adults rushed to help her now, how she apologized for needing things. "I'm sorry," she said when he handed her water. "For what?" Armin asked. "For making you stop working." The words hit him like a verdict. Armin requested a full report from the system. Every clip, every timestamp. Not of Elena alone, but of Maya. What he saw destroyed the story he had told himself. Maya waiting by doors. Maya freezing when voices rose. Maya checking exits before sitting down. Maya never touching anything that wasn't offered. Maya treating Elena not like a project, but like a person. The cameras had seen her. Armin had not. Until now. The confrontation came quietly. He called Maya into his office. She stood near the door, hands clasped, eyes down. "You're not in trouble," Armin said. She didn't relax. He tried again. "Why didn't you help Elena when she struggled?" Maya swallowed. "Because she didn't ask," she said softly. "And when she needed help, I waited," Maya replied. "So she could try first." Armin felt his throat tighten. "Who taught you that?" Maya hesitated. "No one," she said. "I just know how it feels when people decide what you can't do." The words landed with devastating clarity. That night, Armin sat alone in the control room. 22 screens glowed back at him. He realized the truth too late. Power had blinded him. Class had excused him. And a child with nothing had shown him everything. But the damage was already done, and the house was about to answer for it. The reckoning did not arrive with thunder. It arrived with eyes, watching, judging, remembering. The board meeting was supposed to be routine, quarterly updates, expansion plans. Polite applause from men who measured morality in profit margins. Armin sat at the head of the table, immaculate as always, tailored suit, calm voice, perfect posture, but something in him was off. He wasn't thinking about mergers. He was thinking about a 6-year-old girl lying on the floor, whispering a name that wasn't his. Halfway through the presentation, his phone buzzed. A notification from the security system. Camera 14, playroom, lathe. He didn't open it. For the first time since installing the system, he didn't want to hide behind a screen. He closed the presentation early. "I need to attend to a personal matter," he said. No one argued. Power still obeyed him. For now, back at the mansion, the house felt different. Not silent, heavy. Elena sat in the living room, her wheelchair positioned near the window. Sunlight touched her hair gently, like it always had. But she didn't look peaceful. She looked guarded. Armin knelt in front of her, not towering, not commanding. "Just there. I watched the footage," he said quietly. Elena didn't respond. "I saw what happened." Her hands tightened in her lap. "I should have been here." Silence. Then, softly, without accusation, without anger, she said the words that would haunt him forever. "You were watching." That was worse than blame. Because it was true, word travels fast in houses like this. Staff noticed the change immediately. Armin ate meals with Elena, sat beside her during therapy, asked questions and waited for answers. He stopped correcting her emotions, stopped praising her strength, started acknowledging her fear. Some staff approved. Others didn't. "She's getting dependent," one whispered. "She needs discipline, not indulgence." The same poison, different mouths. And Armin heard it now. Really heard it. The tension snapped during a charity luncheon. The kind of event that thrived on image. Elena was present longer than usual. Not paraded, included. Maya wasn't supposed to be there. But she was, standing near the wall, helping her mother clear plates. One of the guests noticed her. A woman dressed in white, voice sharp with superiority. "Is that a staff child?" she asked loudly. The room stilled. Rosa froze. Maya's shoulders stiffened. "Yes," the woman continued. "I don't think that's appropriate at an event like this." Every eye turned to Armin. This was the moment. The old Armin would have smoothed it over, protected appearances, chosen silence. Instead, he stood. "She's here because she belongs here," he said calmly. A ripple of discomfort spread through the room. "She's my daughter's friend." The word friend landed like a challenge. The woman scoffed. "Children like that don't." "Finish that sentence," Armin said. His voice was quiet. Deadly, the woman flushed. "I didn't mean." "I know exactly what you meant," Armin said. "And you're wrong." The room held its breath. "For months," he continued, "my daughter was surrounded by professionals, technology, and money. And she was still alone." He looked at Maya, and this child treated her with more dignity than any adult in this room. No applause, no cheers. Just truth, and it burned. The backlash was immediate. Emails, calls, concerned donors, subtle threats. This could hurt your brand. This isn't the image we support. Armin listened, then did something unthinkable. He didn't care. That night, the cameras captured something new. Elena laughing, not politely, not quietly, openly. Maya sat beside her, both girls working through a puzzle. Elena struggled, paused, tried again. Maya waited. When Elena finished, Maya smiled. Elena beamed. Armin watched from the doorway. Not the screen, the room. And finally understood what he had almost destroyed. But justice doesn't come without resistance. And the house was not done testing him yet.